This is the second story about the color system. In this video lecture, I will introduce you some qualitative color systems. I categorize them as the qualitative color system because with these systems, you can communicate the color information more intuitively. And more fundamentally, these systems have been developed mainly following the human perception. Munsell, the most representative color system because it is the closest one to the human sensibility. And some more are included in this video lecture. So first, the Munsell color system. In early 20th century, Mr. Munsell developed a new way of color arrangement for the education purpose. Munsell was a painter and art educator. In his time, there was no proper apparatus to measure the color properties. Instead, he only focused on the perceptual quantity based on the human vision. He defined hue, value, chroma as three principal attributes of a color. In other words, every single color has these three attributes. Or the properties of a color is described in terms of hue, value, and chroma. Hue is a quality of a color, such as red. Value distinguishes the two based on the brightness. Chroma indicates how strong or intense is that color. Another highlight is the fact that Munsell put an emphasis a lot on the perceptual distance between colors. Now let me explain you how the Munsell color system is constructed. Firstly, there are 5 hues which are perceptually evenly distanced. The perceptual even distance means that the distance you feel between the red and yellow is equal to the distance between yellow and green, and so on. Then, the other 5 hues are positioned in between. In sum, there are 10 basic hues that consist of the hue circle of a Munsell color system. Again, the perceptual distance between any neighbored pairs is maintained to be identical. Because the Munsell color system is older than 100 years, there have been a number of tries to quantify the hue array. However, initially the hue array was decided based on the normal human vision, so it is not a proper approach to extract a mathematical function to compute the Munsell colors. Then the 10 hues were cut into more steps to distinguish the fine differences. For example, there are 10 steps between 5R and 5YR. From 5R, 6R, 7R, and then reaches to 10R. After 10R, 1YR starts. Remember that the basic red is 5R. Therefore, in total, there are 100 hues. Because the distances between 100 hues are very fine, and it is not easy to perceive the difference. Using this problem or characteristics, the 100 hue color vision test was developed to check the individual vision. In particular, the ability to distinguish the color, or pretty often to measure the ability to pay attention to something. Beside the hue, value and chroma are the other 2 attributes of the Munsell color system. In this slide, the Munsell color system is presented in a grayscale to view only the brightness. The vivid 5R is here. Then, the brighter reds are above the 5R, and the darker reds are positioned below. Therefore, the vertical axis of the Munsell color system corresponds to the value. Value 0 indicates black, and value 10 indicates white. Therefore, there are 11 steps in value. Now you are presented with a chromatic image of the Munsell color system. The vividness of the red decreases when the arrow reaches the center axis. Therefore, the distance from the axis indicates the chroma. The farther a color from the axis, the more vivid is the color. Therefore, when a new pigment is invented, it is possible to add it to the peripheral place. In other words, the Munsell color system is expandable. Another unique feature of the Munsell color system is that the color space is asymmetric. A vivid yellow reaches to very high value, but a vivid red cannot. Lastly, it is how we label a color using a Munsell color system. You write the hue first, value, and then chroma. The hue almost matches with an initial letter of a color name. It is intuitive to guess what color it is based on the written expression. The next one is the natural color system, in short NCS. In the 70s, the Scandinavian Color Institute proposed this system, and an increasing number of color practitioners are using the NCS as frequently as the Munsell. The common feature between NCS and the Munsell is that both construct a three-dimensional space profiled by hue, brightness, and vividness. The parameters are named differently, and the logic has a slight difference, but the fundamental approach is quite similar. Because the NCS was developed after the human color vision was scientifically revealed, the hue circle of the NCS is based on the red-green versus yellow-blue axis, just like the CED lab system. This is the first uniqueness of the NCS. Another unique feature is that the brightness and vividness of a color in the NCS are defined in terms of the ratios of blackness and chromaticness. As shown here, the orange has 10 of blackness and 70 of chromaticness. The Y10R indicates the hue notation. In NCS, the most vivid color in any hue is positioned along the outer rim of the color space. Therefore, the NCS space looks symmetrical both horizontally and vertically. When you conduct a color survey, perhaps the hue and tone system would be much more convenient because it displays the colors in two-dimensional space. In some countries, the hue and tone systems are registered in industry standard, although the labeling or classification may differ slightly. Basically, the concept of this color system is to merge the tonal characteristics into several categories. If you look into the system carefully, the rows in the matrix are the compounds of brightness and vividness, which are labeled, in this case, here. Perhaps it is less appropriate to describe a color very accurately. However, it is compact and convenient. An increasing number of color researchers utilize this color system, particularly when they need to identify a trend of color usage. Another color system, very much practical, perhaps you may have heard this name somewhere. Compared with the other color systems, the structure is less scientific. Instead, As a color producer, Pantone creates new colors. Pantone develops her own recipes of ink amount to mix. The Pantone matching system is the most representative and widely used worldwide, provides several series of color guides. The Pantone is based on 14 basic inks to mix and to create a color pigment, but also offers for 4 color mixture such as cyan, magenta, yellow, black, for printing process, dyed textiles, and also for pigmented plastics. Moreover, Pantone is one of the leading color trend setters. Pantone announces the color of the year and promotes their pigments. In year 2014, a soft purple, labeled as Radiant Orchid, was announced. By accident, my office is colored in that purple. Lastly, we should admit that there are a number of color systems constructed by the cultural messages. The chakra system in India is a well-known example. The chakra color system is influenced by the tradition of Indian Hinduism and Buddhism, believing in connections between major organs and colors. In Korean tradition, we used to have a yin-yang color system that consists of 5 primary colors. The system was influenced by the Confucianism. The arrangement is meaningful, and the 5 colors are matched with directions, seasons, planets, and a lot of different substances. We call this 오방색 in Korean, and still this system can be found in traditional items. Do you have any color system unique in your own culture?